I've been thinking for the last few minutes about Get Out. I've said this on previous uploads that I didn't take Get Out to mean exactly what we visually saw. I always knew it was much deeper, but a lot of people know it's much deeper. Most occultists know it's much deeper than just a black man with a white woman because that's what we saw in the movie. If we look closely, a lot of those brown people were in the sunken place. And they were already gone, and a lot of Caucasians have already taken over their consciousness. I'm saying this to say because I remember I listened to a lot of Hemmett's lectures, and I remember him saying that, and this is just him saying, I'm just thinking, so I'm not saying anything for facts. I remember him saying that the Caucasians' time was up a long time ago. I remember him saying that the Caucasians' time was up a long time ago. It makes me wonder how long ago was the Caucasians' time up, because in that movie Get Out, I look at the way they were dressed. How long ago was their time up? I try to wonder why a lot of brown people can't seem to, not even about get themselves together in order to be a community, to have unity as a community and all that crap. And the reason I don't care about that is because we were more than some brown people, or what you would call black people, or whatever you want to call it, that belong in the United States. It's bigger than that. We were connected to a soul that has no color or gender or whatever it is. So I'm kind of beyond just unifying and having businesses and all that stuff. I'm beyond that. I kind of heard something about clones in Africa too. I believe a lot of the consciousness of brown people worldwide have been hijacked. I believe the word "get out" not only means get out of the sunken place. I think you're telling these jokers that hijacked a lot of, I'm going to say our consciousness, because I just kind of had to take quite a few of them out. They hijacked our consciousness. But see, you think you have your personality every day, you feel the same every day, you meditate every day, you do all this every day, and it's so deep though that you don't realize it. Because when I look at that movie Get Out, I'm trying to understand. At the beginning of the movie Get Out, this guy was looking for this lady's house, and all of a sudden he was like knocked out and put in the trunk or something. But when we saw him in the beginning of the movie, he was wearing like clothing that you would see more modern. Okay, and he was in the suburbs looking for somebody's house. He was on the phone speaking to her, and I guess that's when her brother came out and knocked him out and took him away. When he was in a sunken place, I know he kept wearing clothing that looked like it might have been from the 40s, 50s, 30s. That lady too, the brown lady. When you saw the picture of her before she was taken out, she looked like she was wearing modern clothing. And then when she was taken out, it looked like she started dressing like like in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. I want to bring up the skeleton key, but I need to watch that again. I really want to bring that up, but I need to watch that again. That looks like the same time frame. I think they were supposed to be gone since the early 1900s. They were supposed to be gone about 100 years ago. That's when their time was up. We keep getting pulled down into simulation, into another simulation, to another simulation. because they really are supposed to be gone. And they have hijacked a lot of brown people consciousness. That's why brown people seem like they can't get their act right. That's why they seem like they can't get stuff together. You don't know who's who anymore either. Some of those brown folks are completely disconnected from whoever they used to be. I almost want to say, do a meditation and take a picture. I think get out means literally get out. But I think you're telling them to get out too. I think you're telling them to get out. They hijacking they hijacked a lot of brown people's consciousness, and that also includes Africa, brown people around the world. I remember I said this a few times, that I was in a dream that I knew was real. Some dreams, actually dreams closer to the real world than what we are right now. But anyway, so I had a dream about, what was this? Not even 2020. I want to say it was maybe 2018, something like that. And, this seemed like it was around the time I was waking up out of the sleep. Like I would always see myself just sleeping. Like, why am I seeing myself when I'm constantly sleeping? I know I'm awake, but then I sometimes when I meditate, or sometimes it seems like I just can't wake up. I can't wake up. What's going on? I don't have that anymore. I've had to work hard in this last year. But it still do. It's not over. I'm just saying. I don't have that anymore, but I kept noticing that why I always feel, it was 2017 too. 2017, something like that. I kept noticing, even when I was awake, I would see that I was like, I can't seem to wake up. I can't seem to wake up. I can't seem to wake up. And then when I stopped seeing myself sleeping like that. Like I kept snoring. Like, why am I, like, I feel like I just can't wake up, even though I know I'm awake now. But then it's like deep, I know I'm asleep. I can't wake the hell up. I remember having this dream. We were in this living room. It was myself and other brown people just in the living room, almost like we're having fun, partying and stuff. Like it might be music. I said this before. I didn't say this the very first time I said when I had the dream, but I said it recently, that it was this big fat white lady laying on the steps. Not to try to draw too much attention to her being a white lady. I'm just describing what I saw. Big fat white lady. And she was laying up on the steps, but she was laying like her head was going up the steps. And, she was like laying on the steps, in the middle of the steps. It looked like everybody was passing through this fat white lady. And then they came back down to the living room. Like everybody passed through this fat white lady. And then they came back down to the steps. Now, that's symbolic. I'm not trying to focus on the physical vision of a fat white lady. But she was a fat white lady. To me, that sounds like a matrix. To me, that sounds like something's happening to your consciousness and you're going through this fat white lady. And then everybody had to go through this fat white lady. And they get back down to the, then you go back to this living room and you get to party and have fun. All of a sudden, I didn't hear nothing. I take that back. I didn't hear nothing. All of a sudden, all at once, all of the brown people just stopped what they were doing. And then it was this basement, like and here's how it looked. It's like something, like it looks like a floor, but then you lift it up. And you see there's something underneath the floor, like some kind of basement. That's what it looked like. So it didn't look like a basement in a regular house where you open a regular door through the kitchen or whatever. You know how the basement look. You open the door and you go down. It didn't look like that. Excuse me. It looked like they lifted, like you see a regular floor, and then they open up the floor and they lift it up like this big square part. They lift it up and then people go down. That's what it looked like. And everybody started, all the brown people started going down to that basement. All of a sudden, everything stopped. They knew to stop all at once. They just knew to stop, like they were programmed to stop. And all the brown people started going to the basement. And I was walking in that direction too. And I said, wait a minute, what am I doing? See, that's when I knew I woke up out the slumber. That's when I knew I woke up out the slumber. Because it's like, wait a minute, what is that? And I didn't go in. But all of the brown people went down into that basement because they're still asleep. Where did they go? They went into the sunken place. They went into the sunken place. I'm going to say this too. I ain't never said this before. I'm sorry. Throw a little itchy. I saw, I would say during meditations, but I'm always, I don't purposely meditate. When I see, I just might see things with my eyes closed. It's not like a purposeful meditation. I saw where the brown people were underground and the white people were above them, and they were just having fun and just relaxing and doing all this stuff. I'm gonna try to understand. I'm trying to get what that's all about. I saw where the brown people were like underground, like literally under where a sewer would be. But of course, we think we in the physical world, just working and all this stuff. But I saw above ground nothing but looked like white people just enjoying themselves. Now, true enough, we see regular white folks walking around us all the time too. But it looked like, I'm talking about, I saw above ground. I got to see above ground. And now, when I say above ground, I'm still talking about in the astral world. I'm not talking about the actual real world I saw when I literally came up out the water. That's another thing, I believe, underwater. No, what I'm talking about above ground is still an illusion. They can't get outside of what you would call a holographic world. They can't get outside the matrix. They can't get into the real world. They can't get in. So when I say I saw them above ground, it's still an astral world, which means it's still an illusion. We have astral bodies, astral world, it's all an illusion. But still, we take it seriously because that's what our conscience is. That's what our awareness is, so we still take it seriously. But anyway, in this astral world, I still saw them. I saw them above ground. It looked like they were just having fun in the sun at the beach and all that stuff. Well, brown people were just like literally in a sunken place, thinking they're going to work every day, thinking they're doing this. It's like, why is the music turned to trash? Everything is trash. But brown people seem like they can't get their minds right. They gone. It's because they gone. I said this before. I actually said in a comment, I think, to somebody. Brown people are not what they used to be. I say, brown people, these are not the same people. These are not the same people. That's not even from the 1930s. These don't seem like the same people. I get there's a different generation, but then again, at the same time, it's not. It's a bunch. It's like you know how you recycle. It's like you go to a recycling center. So really, it's kind of the same people. It's nobody's different. That's why I don't get into ancestors, because I know that a lot of souls were trapped, and then you had a lot of people that's programmed into the matrix that were never original folks outside the matrix, but they were programmed into the matrix. And because a lot of us were trapped into the matrix, our consciousness was trapped, those folks look real to us. We can touch them, we can, have sex with them, do whatever you want to do, because we're in a virtual reality, holographic world, whatever, along with them. So even though they're fake, our consciousness is trapped inside of it, so they're real to us. We can do anything with them, like you do in the game, in a video game. Okay, but a lot of folks are fake. They ain't real. Including those white folks that look like they were having fun at the beach in the sun. They ain't real either, but at the same time, the brown people are in the sunken place. And they took over brown people's consciousness. They can't elevate. I'm really going to get I really would like to have a sit down and talk with somebody who, because I don't heard Bobby Hemmett say that they were supposed to be gone about 100 years ago. Anyway, just, excuse me, I'm stretching. No, sorry, I'm stretching. Uh, yeah. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. I'm at the point of knowing, though. It's not even thinking. I don't even have the question. That it's no longer a question. Now I just want answers. It's no more well, yeah, it is questions because I want answers. What I'm saying is it's no longer a question of whether certain Caucasians have hijacked the consciousness of brown people. That's not a question. I know that. People try to figure out what's going on with LeBron James. People, all these other basketball players, it seem like these somebody else said this though. That didn't come to me. So I heard somebody else say it. That a lot of these rich white folks, they bid them, like the Get Out movie, like they have bids and they choose these bodies. Like some of them chose LeBron James' body. Some like Tom Hanks. Okay, this person brought up Tom Hanks. This didn't come from me. It's a lady I listened to. She talked about Tom Hanks and how they went missing during the whole 2020 when everything started. Next thing you know, they talked about how him and his wife was infected with COVID. But what it is him and his wife could have possibly taken over the bodies of brown people. And a lot of these rich white folks that we see could have gone and we could have thought they died, but they took over the consciousness. They became brown people. Especially a lot of rich ones. They could have become basketball players. They could have become singers. They probably became something where they wanted to be famous. Okay, so anyway, that's it. I would really like to get more into that and know more about it. But yeah, that's why I say leave blackness alone, leave all that stuff alone, because it's not going to work. Every time I see somebody trying to do something with the brown community, it's always from a physical ego type of standpoint. It's never spiritual. It's never spiritual. And a lot of brown people are extremely religious. They're Christians, and a lot of those Christians, I'm sorry, from what I've seen, white people that took over their consciousness. But you don't have to be a Christian for that. What I'm saying is that it don't look like Christianity is going to help. That's the point I'm making. It don't look like Christianity is going to help. Not the religion. Not the religion. Okay? So, it's answers in the Bible to tell you how to free yourself. But using everything as a religion is not working. That's what a lot of brown people have done. Everything has just been a complete religion. Not just brown people, people around the world, but I'm not talking about people around the world. I'm talking about brown people. But anyway, that's why I say leave blackness alone, because it's always this approach from a very ego, physical standpoint, and it's always talking about getting together and creating businesses and economics, and nothing spiritual at all. That's why I don't get into it. And blackness don't make sense to me. Now, not getting on the person that was trying to detach from it. No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about what is blackness. What does blackness have to do with your soul? What does blackness have to do with you, your consciousness? What does you see that? So when you say when I'm talking about blackness is a group consciousness, but a lot of so-called black people or brown people, they're in a sunken place though. They've been already taken over by white people. About 100 years ago, their consciousness had been taken over by white folks about 100 years ago. So blackness, I'm trying to understand what that is. To me, that sounds like black people ain't there no more. It seems like they gone. Blackness to me means just me empty, like they're literally not there anymore. Okay? But anyway, I will talk later.